Alright, I'll show you guys how to do the thumb fan. This is the thumb fan right here. Okay, so it's just a nice display of a deck of cards. And then there's a cool way to close it with one hand. And I'll show you how to do that afterwards. So to do the fan itself, you're going to start with the deck in this position right here. So the bottom left edge of the deck is kind of in the crotch of my thumb. And then the bottom of the deck is resting along my first finger. And I'm going to apply a bit of pressure between my thumb and first finger. So I'm kind of gripping it. Now my right hand is going to come over, and I use either my thumb or my first finger. Usually I just use my thumb. And I'm just contacting the left edge of the deck, and then I'm moving my right hand in a clockwise motion. Okay? And now the way that my thumb is applying pressure on the left edge of the deck changes throughout the fan. So at first I'm just focusing on the bottom cards, and then I kind of roll my thumb so that it starts to fan the top cards as the fan progresses. Okay, so this is kind of just a knack thing. You need to experiment with it a bit and see what kind of pressure gets you an even fan. Now a few tips. Applying that pressure between the thumb and the first finger will help you kind of gauge the fan to get an even amount of cards showing on each card, right? So you want the distribution to be good. You want there to be the same amount of card showing on each card to get a good looking fan. And the other thing is you want to have a big fan, right? And so to do that, you need to make sure you're holding the deck at the extreme bottom portion right here. If you hold the deck like this and then do the fan is going to be kind of small. Okay, and this is actually a trick that you'll see some people do, stage magicians and such. They'll start with a big fan, then they change the grip like this, and then the fan again, and it looks like the deck shrinked, or shrunk. I don't know which word you're supposed to use. And then they'll change their position again, and then the deck shrinks even more. Oh, that's kind of tough. And then eventually they'll make the deck disappear somehow. But for our purposes, we want a big fan, so you hold the deck at the bottom edge. Okay, so that's the fan itself. Alright, I'll show you a few ways you can close the fan now. If you're a beginner, the easiest thing to do is just come over with your right hand and just move it around like that until the deck closes. There's no explanation required for that. Now the fancy way to do it is the one-handed close. And this is quite difficult actually. It's harder than the fan itself. But I'll try my best to teach it. I'll start off by saying it's definitely one of those knack things, and you're just going to have to experiment a bit to see what works for you. But here's what the back of my fan looks like. All four of the fingers are just laying across, and then my thumb is here, of course. And the first thing I'm going to do is apply pressure between the two. I'm gripping that fan kind of tightly. And then I'm going to move my first finger and my middle finger to this position, so that the fingertips are just contacting that top card of the deck. And from here, it's my ring finger that does a lot of the work. The ring finger kind of just flicks down. And what they'll do is they'll cause the cards to rotate into this direction. Okay, and it's impossible to do slowly, so that's why this is kind of hard to teach. But I'm in this position, then my ring finger moves down, causing the cards to fall like this. And momentum has a lot to do with it. So it's one sudden burst, and then from there the cards will square themselves up. And if you're just starting out, you might want to try to use gravity to your advantage. So once you do the flick, that's the flicking motion, once you do that flick, hold the cards like this, so that gravity will help these cards fall into place. Okay, so that's kind of all I can really tell you about the closure. It's something you're just going to have to play around with until you get it. It's very difficult to teach. But good luck with that, and I'm sure you'll get it eventually. Okay guys, bye.